All is not well for Ferrari this season. Despite having two talented drivers, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, the team has struggled to keep up with their rivals in the Constructors' Championship. The pressure is mounting on Ferrari to turn things around and salvage their season before it's too late. With several disappointing finishes in recent races for the Maranello team, things have got to be asked. Is it the drivers or is it the car? Well, stay tuned to find out more. In particular, why rumors have it that Ferrari is eyeing Lewis Hamilton for the 2023 season. The start of the season hasn't been promising for Leclerc. In the season opener in Bahrain, he was forced to withdraw from the race after his Ferrari SF23 engine failed. In the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, luck was not on his side. He got a penalty, he was limited by having to start 12th due to 10th place grid drop for changing engine components in the wake of his Bahrain GP failure. And in the third race, he had a tangle with Lance Stroll, which marked the end of his Australian GP on lap 1. After two dunfs, there seemed to be hope in Baku, where he got the pole position in both the sprint race and the formal race, in which he finished second and third, respectively. In Miami, where he spun in Q3, Leclerc admitted to pushing too hard to try and make up for the car's shortcomings. In Monaco, the curse continued. Leclerc qualified third, but was given a third-place grid penalty for impeding. And lastly, the most recent shocking exit from qualifying in Spain in the briefly red-flagged Q1 season, Leclerc reported the problem with his rear tires over the radio as he struggled to hook up a solid qualifying lap. Charles claimed that he had no answer for the unidentified problem with his SF23 that had him lined up 19th for the Spanish Grand Prix on Sunday. There may have been incidents with Leclerc, and it raises the possibility that this issue goes beyond the car. And now that I think about it, perhaps the driver is the real problem. Now, what about Sainz? Well, rumors in the F1 world suggest that Sainz might be replaced by Lewis Hamilton. But why would that be the case if Sainz is the one who's having a better season than Leclerc so far? I mean, he's managed to finish in the top 5 of 4 of the 7 races that have been completed, and he has subsequently bagged more points than Leclerc. And I'll still be first to acknowledge Sainz's subpar season performance even after saying that. One of the biggest disappointments for the Spanish driver was the race in Monte Carlo, where he started from 4th position on the grid and he had a realistic chance of aiming for the 3rd step, but fell back to 8th place. What hindered the Ferrari driver the most were a couple of mistakes in the track. The first one was at the beginning of the race, when he damaged his front wing in an unlikely overtaking attempt on the Alpine of Esteban Ocon, and the second one was when the rain arrived, with a mistake that ultimately dropped him behind Leclerc. Well, the driver's errors didn't go unnoticed by the team. The media reported the following about Sainz. To this, we must add that Ferrari are starting to get tired of Carlos Sainz. The Spanish driver is not performing in the team as expected, and they're getting fed up with the excuses from Madrid. The truth is that for some time now, at Ferrari, they're beginning to be upset with Sainz. He hasn't performed as expected. He's disappointed them. They thought that he would be a star driver, and he's not showing it. If he wants to continue, he's got to begin to show why he was trusted in the first place, but at the moment, there's no hint of that. And that brings us to Hamilton. Formula One is ripe with rumors of driver switching teams, and last month there were suggestions that Ferrari was about to offer Hamilton a contract, right? An article published by the Daily Mail stated that Ferrari was preparing a £40 million offer, and they were ready to break the bank to sign the 7-time world champion. It was also said that the company president, John Elkann, was in the talks with Mercedes. The news of Hamilton joining Ferrari created a buzz in the F1 community. It enthralled the fans, and it sent the F1 paddock into overdrive, debating the possible move. The suggestion that Hamilton could join Ferrari soon would mean one of their current drivers, Leclerc or Sainz, would have to be let go. Ferrari has moved quickly to try and put any rumors like this to rest after being prodded by them. Team principal Frederick Vasseur has denied the claim and reiterated that he's going to wait until the end of the season to consider entering into any contract talks, including those with Leclerc and Sainz. So it's safe to say that Ferrari wants more out of their drivers. They've brought a car that's close to challenging the Red Bull in the last 2 years, but the championship just falls out of their grasp, so it wouldn't really be a surprise then that the team wanted a new driver who could put in consistent performances and possibly win them a championship. And who wouldn't want Lewis? During the media day in Monaco, Vasseur, who had Hamilton drive for his team in Formula 2 and Formula 3 more than 15 years ago, said every team would love to have Hamilton drive for them. But the Frenchman declared to the media that Ferrari hadn't spoken to Hamilton about joining their team. And here's what he said. We didn't have discussions. I think every single team on the grid would like to have Hamilton on at one stage. It would be bullshit to not say something like this. And if I talked with Hamilton the last 20 years, I discussed almost every single weekend with Hamilton. I don't want to have to stop talking with him because you're chasing me. Amidst all the rumors, this wouldn't be the first time that Lewis abruptly switched teams. The Briton made a shocking switch to Mercedes from McLaren, where he had started his career and he had spent 6 years. He joined Mercedes at a time when they were still finding their legs in F1 as a team, and they were starting to challenge the top teams. Hamilton's arrival was a major turning point for both him and the team. So, has Hamilton decided where he wants to drive? Which team would you choose if you were Hamilton? The 38-year-old, who has won 6 of his 7 titles with the Silver Arrows, is out of contract at the end of the season, but has also brushed away the speculation of his leading Mercedes. He told reporters that his team is currently talking with Mercedes about a new deal. I think naturally, when you're in contract negotiations, there's always going to be speculation. Unless you hear it from me, then that's what it is. My team was working closely behind the scenes with Toto Wolff. We're almost at the end of having the contract ready. So having a team focus on that, so I can just do my job, that's a much better position than I was in before. Because I remember I used to do all of my negotiations on my own, and it was very stressful. So I don't got to do that anymore, Hamilton said. Hamilton insisted ahead of the Monaco GP that Ferrari hadn't talked to him about a contract. And when they asked where the story came from, he replied, I don't know. I think maybe with last weekend, with the Imola GP being cancelled, maybe they just got bored. Although Mercedes has endured another difficult start of the season after sticking with its controversial and hugely ineffective zero side pod aero concept, Hamilton said they were still being a championship winning team, right? And now we can almost put the speculation on where the Briton's going to be next year. After a podium finish in Spain, Lewis said that he was on the final leg of extending his contract with Mercedes. Mercedes finally decided to ditch their zero side pod design and add side pods to the car. And after managing a double podium with Hamilton taking second and George Russell third in the updated W14, Ferrari's struggles are further amplified. Leclerc's Saturday struggles were made more bizarre by the fact that his teammate Sainz secured a front row start alongside pole sitter Max Verstappen at his home race. However, Sainz didn't have the race pace to match his qualifying performance and was comfortably cleared by both Mercedes cars and Red Bull's Sergio Perez, ultimately finishing 5th. While Leclerc said that his car felt improved since Saturday, his confusion over what was causing the inconsistency in his performance was typical of Ferrari's strange start to the season. This leaves us in a state of confusion about whether Ferrari's car is the issue or whether the drivers aren't good enough. One of those questions that would itch to be asked is, what happens at the end of the season? Ferrari clearly wants better performing drivers, and Leclerc and Sainz ain't living up to their expectations. Will Ferrari get a new driver to replace either of their current drivers? Or will Sainz and Leclerc find a pace that they need to turn around their season? Let us know what you think in the comment section down below, and that brings us to the end of the video. Like and subscribe to our channel, and come back to the latest Formula 1 content. Bye for now.